Greetings from Podcastville. It's Monday, the 30th of December. That's it, motherfuckers. This is the last Monday. How the fuck you gonna act? The Church of What's Happening Now is brought to you by our next sponsor is one of my favorites. Why? Because I believe in hygiene. And I believe if you don't have a clean ass, what type of person are you? You got no fucking character. You understand me? The Hello Tushy bidet is something you install at home. It takes 10 minutes and it changes your whole life. You're like, Joey, what type of life-changing experience? I'm talking a type that you'll take your wife and throw her out the fucking window because she's not necessary anymore. This is hot water cleaning your ass. You're walking around all day, nice and clean, a little pep in your step. Hello Tushy comes in different colors, and they start at $79. If you're getting this podcast right now, it's never too late to give somebody a Hello Tushy. Never. Never. You know why? Because everybody's ass smells like a fucking dead Egyptian. That's why. So do yourself a favor. Stop killing trees. Stop using fucking dirty... This is the same water you brush your teeth with. This ain't that toilet water. Your asshole's going to be tip-top. Go to HelloTushy.com right now and press in church and get 10% off your order, all right? The church is also brought to you by one of my personal favorites. And since you want to start the year off on a good foot, this is the way to start the new year off. Alpha Brain, Shroom Tech Sport, Shroom Tech Immune, kettlebells, club bells. On it's got everything for you. You understand me? That's why I do business with them. That's why they've been a sponsor of the show for 7 years. Who else takes a product, stands behind it, and if you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. They don't even ask questions. That's on it. That's why I do business with them. They're running a contest. You buy some Alpha Brain, you get a lottery ticket, they enter you, you win, you get the honor experience. 2 days, you eat the barbecue, Aubrey gives you a G-note, you get some clothing, you get a year's supply. Listen, it's on and on and on, but it starts with Alpha Brain. Go to onit.com right now and press in church and get 10% off your order delivered to your door right there. That's how you start off 2020. Kick this motherfucking mule, Lee. It's Monday morning. The Church of What's Happening Now. It's myself and Lee. We're just doing a quick wrap-up show. Not to leave you out there fucking hanging. Everybody else is leaving town and whatnot. Listen, thank you very much for a good year. I don't know what type of year you had. I know you had ups and downs. I know you had losses and you had gains. But no matter what, you're 2 feet around the fucking ground and you're still ready to go. 2020 is your year. Listen, they all can't be your year. They all can't be a month, and they all can't be a day. I pulled the hamstring. I almost ripped it. I was scared I had to cancel Miami and New York and Boston. It all worked out. I got back. I lost a cat I made a promise to 12 years ago not do drugs. We all go through things. It's how you go through them, pass them, move on, and go on to the next level of your life. And that's what I try to do with the church. The church isn't for fucking rich people or for people who fucking think they're cool. This is for people who, we're always the fucking underdog. And and we love being the underdog. I love being the underdog. I fucking enjoy it. Because you know what? I always win when I'm a fucking underdog. And you're going to start taking the same philosophy. It's been a great year. I didn't have to shoot any specials. I didn't have to fucking do any contests or anything like that. The goals I wanted to achieve, I achieved, which is to be a better comic, to be healthy, to be a better father, to make this podcast a little better, to be a better husband, and to learn to be a better friend. Tomorrow night's New Year's Eve. I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking. I know 30 years ago I was thinking about fucking doing whatever, but for you people who didn't know, I didn't get high on New Year's Eve. I got high every night except New Year's Eve since 1984 when my friend's ear got bit off and I couldn't answer for him because I was too fucked up. 83. So I got high 360-something days of the year except New Year's Eve. How fucked up?
Were you completely sober or just not as fucked
smoking
up?
Some joints. I always wanted to pay attention on New Year's. You always want to pay attention on New Year's. Yeah, you're having a good time. They think you're drinking, but you got a fucking Coke with a fucking lime in it. They think you're drinking a Cuba Libre. You're always watching. That's the way life is. You're always watching. Let the fucking morons lose control in public and not know what the fuck is going on. Then the next day, I lost my cell phone. Somebody robbed me. Somebody fucked me in the ass while you passed out. That's what happens when you pass out in the TP. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Yeah, what the fuck? The reason why I do this wraparound podcast is just to let you know that it's not over, man. It's not over. It was just a fucked up year. And shit happens. And this time of the year doesn't make it fucking any worse because this puts pressure on you. But hey, push all that shit aside because you're alive. You've got a plan this year. And you got the church. You got us. Worst case scenario, you don't have no friends. You got me and Lee. You listen to us twice a week. We're there with you. You got a question, you hit me up on Messenger, on Facebook, on Twitter, and we're right there. This is not a podcast where we're stars and we're looking down on you, we're better than you. We're in the same rut as you. I go along learning something new every day. Somebody told me something. I'm going to tell you guys something for the next year, and then we'll get the podcast started. A wise woman last week watched a one-man show I did at the Comedy Store. And afterwards, she said she enjoyed it. But she comes from a Buddhist background, which is always a good background because it makes you question a lot of things. And she asked me what I wanted. I told her an array of things. She goes, I want you to write down, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? 7 times. And then write down the answer. And I did it. And I came up with some pretty fucking cool answers. So if you don't know what direction you're taking 2020 into, listen, man, nobody needs for you to lose 200 pounds. Nobody needs for you to be $20,000 richer. Nobody needs for you to fucking do anything. Just be a little bit better than what you were in 2019. That's it. That's all we ask you. Just be a little bit better. If you fucking whatever, you're going to do just a little bit better this year. That's it. Just be human, have a good time, and make sure that it's not... Listen, I know people who got money coming out of their assholes, and they always got a sour puss on their face. The other night, there's an app called like ABC Yahoo or some shit, and it's for kids. My wife made my daughter write a letter to Santa, the toys she wanted and shit. But I guess this, did I tell you about this?
Yeah, we talked about it in the last podcast.
This thing. And she wrote down that all she wanted to do was be happy. And it fucking blew my mind. That a 6-year-old could figure out the answer that took me fucking 40 years to realize. Because we all get confused. We think that girl's going to make us happy. That boat's going to make you happy. Having that car's going to make you happy. Then you get it, and then what? That's the beautiful thing about life, that we never think about. Once we get that goal, then what? Now what the fuck are we going to do? Listen, with happiness, you can never lose, Just go to be happy. It's not about money. It's not about bitches. It's not about real estate deals or who you fucked in the ass. Because when you're fucking laying in that casket, or before you put in that casket and you're taking your last breath, that's not the shit you're going to be thinking about. You're going to be thinking about the good times with your kids, your wives, your girlfriends, your friends. Be a better friend than 90 into 2020. Be a better friend to yourself, And that's it, man. This is a fucking simple fucking life. Only we make it harder on ourselves with pressure and listen to people. Listen to yourself. At the end of the week, who pays your bills? You do. The fuck you listen to that fucking jerk off for? Me, Lee. Listen to yourself. You have natural fucking instincts. And listen, man, this is the time of the year also where people's minds stray. Don't let your mind stray. Go out. Be around people. This year, the comedy community and you guys, because you guys are part of it. It's not like 40 years ago when Freddie Prinze shot himself and you didn't know who the fuck Freddie Prinze was. God rest his soul. This year we lost a comic. He was a great friend. I knew him since he was a fucking kid. And for a couple of months I was numb. For a couple of months I was angry. Now I'm wrapping 2019 up with him because I learned a lot from him. I learned that we have friends and we have to use them. Fuck you and your fucking psychiatrist that you pay $164. You give me $200 a week. I'll tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear. You ever think about that? You ever think about that, you fucking idiots? You're giving some fucking jerk-off guy or lady $180 a week, $280 a week, $220, $160, $140. And they just tell you whatever they fucking... And you feel good for a while. But you know what? What's the problem with buying your best friend a cup of coffee at Denny's and talking to him and letting him know? And because of this shit, this is why Brody took his life in February. So this last podcast of the year, I wanted to bring you hope and let you know that fucking you got this. You got the world by the balls. You got everything to live for. You might think you're painted against a wall, but Joey, I'm sleeping on a towel. Hey, bitch. I slept on a towel, too, in 1995. Enjoy it. It could have been linoleum. You know what I'm saying? Be happy with what you got. Think about your friends, and think about if you get into a bind that you always have your friends. This is the last time Brody Stevens at this podcast, and I want to end the year with this podcast. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you.
Yes, we are here, feeling good, relaxed, in the moment. I'm comfortable. I've been on the show. Good to see you guys.
Good
Lee and Joey.
Always great to bump into you. You know, I was thinking about who can I have on this time. I said, fucking Brody Stevens. I just saw him at the store. Let me give him a fucking holler.
Yeah, it was, I saw you at the store, showing my face. See you, how you doing? Call me.
What time are your spots usually?
I get, normally, I'll do Friday or Saturday in the main room, closing it out, which is like 12:30. 12:45, late. And then occasionally I'll get an earlier spot in the original room at like a 10:45 or an 11. So Adam, the booker, and they mix it up for me, but I get 2 to 3 spots a week. But I make the most of those. If I get those main room spots, I go up at the end, I get to spread my wings and do my own thing. And that's what I made my special based on doing those late night main room spots, where I'm just kind of letting it go. So I still do those. I've kind of, I've done it already. So I'm looking to do something more, but getting some motivation for, but they switch it up. But you got to hustle. Got to play the Laugh Factory. Got to go to the Improv. Got to do these other shows. Got to show your face.
Listen, the hustle never ends. Like I said, Sebastian Maniscalco sold out 4 shows in Madison Square Garden. And I'm telling you, every day, all of us struggle. Whatever level you're at, comically, stat, whatever.
Right.
Every day you got to get up and face it and work and fucking, whatever it is that you do to get, closer to your goal, whatever the fuck it is. It was interesting. You were talking about at the beginning of the show that you're done with the meds. You're done.
Well, I have been.
For how long now?
4 months.
How do you feel?
Good. I mean, my mood is low. I feel like I have to rewire my brain a little bit and my body. I think that it takes several months to get it out of your system, and then you get used to being different. But essentially, I feel like my old self. But that doesn't like pre-comedy, because I had been taking some kind of an antidepressant, something to take the edge off since Seattle. And I had a year or 2 in New York when I was not really on anything. But being here in Los Angeles since 2000, I think the pressures maybe of the internet made me, all these, just so many more things happening. But initially I started taking it in Seattle because I'd get up there and do comedy, and I wouldn't feel right. I felt like, oh, Brody, you're funny playing baseball. Then when I went up there and did comedy, it was rough. So I did take something to help me have the edge taken off. However, I feel like 20 years now later, to say you're only on a med because it helps your comedy is kind of like a weak excuse.
Well, listen, by the way, I called it just to stay safe. I always said it was November 15th, but it was more like the 8th or the 9th when I gave up cocaine, and this is 11 years.
Wow. 11 years.
Coke-free this week.
Congratulations.
Awesome. 11 fucking years coke-free. Something that I never, ever, ever thought I could live without.
Mm-hmm.
Like something that I thought that if I got off it, I wouldn't be funny. that was my biggest fear of getting off the cocaine, was that I would lose my sense of humor.
Yeah.
So when you said that before the show started, I assured you that that does not happen. You know, I don't know what your history was with meds, and I didn't want to put it out in Front Street, but you put it out in Front Street.
Well.
And you know what, man? There's a lot of people who listen to this show that are on meds. And maybe you inspire them to maybe go, you know what? I'm going to give my old self a chance. I'm going to try to live my life. I'm going to try to get a good control, good, what do you call that around you? A good support
system. Showing your face.
Fucking important. The support system around you is the most important thing. You know, I took Kate Quigley to the New York Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. And Wednesday night, I had all my friends meet at a Chinese restaurant, and we all ate. And little by little, she kept seeing my friends, and she goes, I understand you now a lot more. You know, you've kept in touch with these people for 40 fucking years, and they support you. And, you know, instead of me going out and buying a BMW and getting an assistant, I call one of them every day, and I hear them telling me how they have to call me back because they're delivering a package for Federal Express. And they tell me how they have to drive home at 8 but go back to work at 10 because a ship is coming in and they got to count stuff. So when I talk to them every day, it keeps me grounded. It says to me, fuck, they're 55, and I have a friend who delivers, he's 56. He's my brother, and he delivers fucking packages all day for Federal Express. I would give up. If you think I could deliver packages for Federal Express today, you better fucking shoot yourself if I had to climb upstairs all day and drop off boxes. That's not going to happen. I would quit in the middle of the day.
Depends on what city.
Any city.
I think
I don't have it in me to deliver packages all day right now. There is no fucking way. Even if I was 50 pounds lighter, 100 pounds lighter, there is no way at 55 that I could be walking up and down stairs. I know there's plenty of men that are doing it.
The Amazon guys, I'm sure.
But when I speak to these guys that I grew up with, you know, what my one friend says, he reps on the weekends to make an extra $200 a week for his family. So during baseball season, he goes up on stage. He fucking goes to a Little League field at 8 in the morning, and he's there to 6 at night on Saturdays and Sundays. After he delivers Federal Express all fucking week.
Oh, the same guy.
Same guy to make $175 for the day, so his family can have an extra $1,400 a month. And I'm like bitching about having a gig for $400. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I talk to them, it keeps my life in perspective. It keeps me in check. I don't want to be surrounded with people who look at life for like a value. I wanted to always, you know, so that's who keeps me grounded. That's my support group. Those little fucking friends I call in the morning, and just how I break your balls, I break their balls. I know when they're busy. I know when they're busiest. And I call them, then I call them again. You know what I'm saying?
And these are friends back east or all over?
All over.
Just saying hello.
Saying hello. Because it keeps you fucking grounded. I talked to Bob Lolingus today.
Oh, nice.
A listener from the podcast. You know, tomorrow I got to call Bobby Sharon. Every day is somebody, you know, and these people keep you humble.
Is it also just socializing, keeping those...
I love my friends in Jersey.
Yeah.
I love them more every time I see them. I see them for 10 minutes, and it means the world to them, and it means the world to me. When I'm home, I go to breakfast at this one. I go to see my mother's cemetery with that one. This one takes me to get Cuban food. This one takes me to Rudy's. This one drives me to Chan's. So I have a different relationship with all of them. And I talk to them, and you know, I have a friend who, 55, went to MIT.
Massachusetts Institute of Technology?
No, the one in New York.
The New Jersey one, I think, right?
The one where people are fucking geniuses. You know what he does? He delivers bread from midnight to 11 in the morning for $200 a shift.
Oof.
He makes $1,000 a week, and sometimes he works Saturday nights. All night delivering bread in the village, but he's got to work from 6 in the morning with all that traffic. He's got to get over to the Jersey side, and I wouldn't fucking want to do that at all at my age. Again, So all these guys keep me grounded. So whatever keeps you grounded from the evil in your mind coming out, or whatever the fuck happens to all of us, that's the most important thing. And I'm telling you this as a 55-year-old. Like, I'm an old fucking man. And I wish I knew this when I was 30.
Yeah.
That you have to have 3 people, 4 people, and you breathe for them and they breathe for you, no questions asked.
Yeah, I have friends I need to... I mean, I'm from here. It's a little different. That's an excuse, though. Like, my best... Not my best friend, one of my close friends, I still, like, lives up near Magic Mountain. I should probably call him. Maybe tomorrow I'll call him.
Call him.
I'll call him.
Take him to lunch.
I just haven't done it.
Make a deal with him that you're going to make sure and meet him every 2 weeks for lunch.
I need to.
At the same diner, to eat the same bowl of soup, whether it's a Jewish
What if I have an
restaurant.
audition?
Who gives a fuck? That's the problem. That's the problem. That we forget who we are because we have the audition. I had a commitment with you. Every Sunday at 11 o'clock, you have to make that commitment. Tomorrow, you know what pisses me off tomorrow? That today was my heavy day. So today I lifted and I went to kickboxing. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, I don't know how I'm going to wake up, how my back is going to feel. If I miss jiu-jitsu, I feel guilty because I had a date with jiu-jitsu. When I get a fucking call for an audition on a Tuesday at 1, I get pissed because I got to miss jiu-jitsu.
Right.
When I get a call for a fucking meeting to meet somebody at 2 o'clock in Hollywood, that means I can't go to jiu-jitsu or I can only do the conditioning, and I get fucking pissed. You know, I don't want nothing to interfere with whatever keeps me grounded. And I wish that I had known this when I first moved to LA. And I did have a grounding. I had people like Ralphie May and yourself and Josh Wolf and whatever. But nobody protected me from myself, which nobody could ever do. Nobody could protect you from being you. It takes you to protect yourself.
I know, right?
How hard is that?
It's hard.
It's hard.
You know, that's why you need, you know, having family, having a wife or a husband or a dog or something, or you have to build. If you don't have that, you got to build up your support system. You got to. It just takes effort. It takes effort, and you want it and be a good person, I think, but also getting out of the house. It's just with the internet these days, social media, it does affect people.
Well, how long have you lived alone, Brody?
Probably now for, great question, Lee. Probably now for 6 years.
Because like I've lived alone for 8 years, something like that. And even this weekend, I was like, some things happened that annoyed me, and I was just getting into my head. Mm-hmm. And I talked to a few people, but I don't. Most of the day I'm by myself. And even just as terrible as it sounded, I was just driving and I just was thinking about what's going on with the fires, and I was like, you know what, that really doesn't matter. Like what I'm going through is, in the grand scheme of things, I'm making it worse in my head. So I think it's hard sometimes as a person who lives alone to like get out of their head.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why I go for walks, actually getting out, and then I do that Periscope. I do talk. I mean, I'm not hearing their voices, but I am doing these check-ins. I am connecting with my community. There is something true to having your audience, your fans. They do mean something. So I do lean on them sometimes more than others. So, having a roommate. I had a roommate back my last apartment, and he was a really good roommate. They're hard to come by, but I think yes, being social, and when you are living alone and it could be, you got to like make it happen. But if you like I said, like you called me today, Joey, I didn't know. You know, this was not like something that was booked. It was energy. I feel like you got to be in it to win it. That's half the battle. So. And not feeling sorry for yourself, but I think having a roommate, you think that would be better? Like
no, because trust me, I haven't had a roommate since college, and that's
really
yeah, but I have sacrificed financially for it. I could have saved a lot of money by getting a roommate, or even if I was spending the same amount of money getting a bigger place. But I lived with someone for a year, and even he would say when I did it that it's like. I'm a very much introverted person.
Yeah.
And it takes a special I can't live with that many people.
Okay.
I like my space. I like to go somewhere and have no one like to unplug. Like something that's been kind of a struggle for me that I have to work on is hanging out after comedy sets. I don't feel comfortable really.
Hanging out after.
Yeah.
After the show.
Yeah.
So you have to, and then what? Talking to the other comedians, talking to the fans.
Well, it's
audience members.
The people who come, it's a little bit different. It's quicker conversations. I can ask them I can talk and be like, hey, what do you do? And this and that. But, and I have some friends that I do open mics with now.
Right.
But I don't, unless it's a few people, like 2 or 3 people, I could hang around for an hour. If it's 7 or 8 people, I'll hang around for like 20 minutes.
So you just want to get out of there?
Yeah. I just want to go home.
And you feel like that's not good?
Yeah, I think I need to be a little bit more social. I mean, I'm more social already, but I think it would be beneficial if I was, hanging out and getting to know people on like a more personal basis.
I mean, that's why the Comedy Store is so popular.
Yeah.
You can hang out. You hang out there, right? You come by there?
A little bit, yeah. And I just have to force myself to stay and do. I've done it like twice in the past week, but one of the times I had a show, so I didn't really count it as just hanging out.
But you set up, you go like on a whatever night once or.
I have to start doing that more. I've been avoiding it.
Yeah, because everybody's hanging out there. They're all similar, same likes, and you're at the Comedy Store,
right?
And then you're gonna meet other comedians. You're gonna meet fans. You're gonna be around people. All that stuff. I mean, that's why I go. I go. I know I have a place.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I force myself to go to the store. But let's back this conversation up, because these are some interesting fucking things that are happening here.
Okay.
Just now. Lee and I, when we first started doing the podcast, we started in my apartment. I had an extra bedroom. And then, and this is not, I'm not hating on Lee, people. Lee knows what I'm about to tell you, people. And then Lee got an apartment, and it was a 2-bedroom. And we do the podcast out of his apartment. Mm-hmm. And I love Lee. Lee has come on my home. Lee knows my family. Lee could come to my home whenever he wants. He knows that.
Yeah.
I know from doing the podcast that year in Lee's apartment and how he acted that I have never been back to one of Lee's apartments. Not because he's a bad person. He's always hosted me. He always had Diet Cokes for me. His apartment was clean. Nothing.
Okay.
I just know Lee. I know from me being who I am that Lee, there's people who want you at their house. There's people who love open up the door, going, come in, sit down, take your shoes off, put your feet on the table, eat, get there. There's people who are naturals at that.
Yeah.
There's people who are fucking naturals at that.
They want to entertain.
I wish I could be one of those people. Okay? So when just that relationship of me going to Lee's home in the mornings to do his podcast, and at one time there was a girl sleeping on his couch.
Oh.
I could see that, the effect of when that girl moved out on Lee. And I tried to tell him, not because I'm a hater, before Lee told me he was going to let his girlfriend move in, I go, Lee, from a standpoint of a fucking old man that reads people and is a loner. Mm-hmm. Remember, guys, I was a loner. You put me in my room by myself as a kid, I was an only child. As long as I got a fucking record player and a TV, but something happened to me in 1987. In 1986, something interesting happened to me. And I'll admit this on the air right now. And it's called something, but it affected me in a different way. It's called cabin fever.
Okay.
The same thing that happened to the guy in The Shining.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened is, in Aspen, the spring of 86, my girlfriend, who became my wife, said, it's the off season. Everybody loses their job. So instead of sitting, all the restaurants close.
Right. Wow.
Everything closes. I mean, it goes from being heavy duty, fucking people jumping off cliffs with bikinis on, to April 15th.
Nothing.
Like nothing. Like from traffic to 6 cars. And the only thing that stays open is a supermarket. At least this is how it was in 86. All that would stay open, Lee, was a supermarket for limited hours. Because all there was left was the residents of that town.
People who worked at the ski.
So instead of there being 9 bars now, there was a hotel with 1 bar open. And that's the way it was till mid-June. Then the bicycle races came and the hot air balloons came. And then it became people come back up.
Yeah.
But there's a 6-week span, Lee, that I had to work 3 hours a day, some days, just to open up the video store. And I could look you guys in the face and tell you that there were days I wouldn't even open the door. The dog, this is no drugs. This is me smoking popping video after video in the movies. Video after video.
Just watching movies.
Yeah, pissing and shitting in between, eating something in between, making a shake.
Yeah.
I did that.
You could do that back then.
I did that for 6 weeks.
Well, it's like a film festival.
And it had been really weird because before that, I lived in New York and I had a hustle. And I was out of the house every day by 8 o'clock, stealing, selling drugs, stealing fucking tampons and selling them on the New York side to bodegas up in Washington Heights. I was just a fucking, and those 6 weeks affected me. I started to twist a little bit. I started to get bad thoughts, not suicidal. Of coming back and murdering my stepdad and just bullshit, dumb stuff. So from those 6 weeks, I learned one thing for my personal mental health. It was always good for me. Get up, cup of coffee, go to your balcony, hit your joint twice.
Yep.
Get your head together.
Yep.
Write out a plan for your day, what you want to accomplish for the day, like in written form in a paragraph. Today I feel great. I got 8 hours of sleep, blah, 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 blah. And take a shower and get out of the house, even if you have nowhere to go.
And make your bed, actually.
It's so healthy for you. But if you look at the questionnaire for depression, it starts with that being alone and not getting your hand forced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not crying, but
you're getting your hand forced to do something. A lot of people don't like their hand forced.
When you say hand forced,
if you get a roommate, you can't do what you usually do, act like a fucking gavone and just sit on the couch all day and watch videos.
Okay.
Now you have a roommate. Lee made a point that he's been living alone, but if he had a roommate, maybe he'd get out of the house more. I believe in getting out of the fucking house. I think the sun has amazing powers. I think the air has amazing power. There's some days I'm feeling ho-hum, and I know exactly what it is. I haven't jumped in the shower.
It's proven walking is beneficial for you, for your brain, for your body, for everything. So there's no the only thing somebody would say about walking, you should be doing more. You should be then turn it into a hike. The bottom line is walking helps anybody. If it's helping you, and especially as a performer, mentally, I go out and I walk, and a lot of the creative ideas come from when people walk. I do my periscopes when I'm walking. I check in with people, and then luckily we're here in Southern California, and we have that sunlight. So I do, at least I'm doing that. I always say, like, I'm not a couch potato. I'm checking in. Even if I'm doing another periscope and I'm playing drums, I'm sitting on a Swiss ball. I'm exercising. So I'm trying to at least, show people like being active. And if I don't do a periscope or, I don't do an Instagram video, people are going to go, hey, Brody, what's up? So they kind of, it still doesn't beat having an actual physical person with you. It's a little bit of an AI thing when you have relationships with your audience members that you actually don't even hear their voices. So you do need that human interaction. And part of it is having guests on a podcast. I mean, I got to the point where I wasn't even booking guests on podcasts. It was just me and, the mic and the camera. And it's like, I need to be around people. So I've made the concerted effort. I think the last couple months or so is like, be social, put the effort out, and get out of your head. Just so, and I see results. I got to at least try.
I mean, listen,
I like it.
You have to be in your head to be self-conscious. But I don't want you to be self-conscious that you destroy yourself. From 79 to 85, walking was my psychiatrist. Walking with and without an iPad on, whatever. What did you call those?
A Walkman.
Walkman.
Discman, Walkman.
I walked miles, and that was my psychiatry.
Mm-hmm.
I would just walk.
Get your
walk,
steps in.
walk. I didn't do it for health reasons. It was the psychiatry I had. I had to break down what had just happened in my life and how I was going to make my future better. Mm-hmm. And it would be smoking a joint and walking from Cliffside Park to fucking Englewood and back. 6 miles or something. A retardation. Just wasting time. Mm-hmm. I was what's that called? Procrastinating?
Yeah, that's what
But
I do.
I was also breaking it down, what had just happened, and I was breaking down my next attack. And I finally had the balls, and it took me, and I launched in 85. That was my attack, but that was a year of walking.
So you were walking before you were doing stand-up?
Stand-up wasn't even in my future.
Okay.
Prison was in my future at that time.
Gotcha.
And I was a walker, walking away. Like, if I lived here, I would walk towards fucking, Sunland every day, on a slant with an iPod. I would force myself to walk by myself. No cell phone in your pocket, no calls, and break down what had just happened in my life. The death of my mother, how I was going to survive. Was I going to go to vocational school? Was I going to go to college? Was I going to get my GED? How was I going to, it was just a constant walking was my psychiatrist. Today I got up this morning early. There was no school today. So me and my wife had to share duties. So I got up this morning, hung out with her early, watched television. And then at 9 I went to my Muay Thai little conditioning class. Mm-hmm. But I remember before I walked in, I got to the 8:45. I just stood there by my car for 4 minutes and I just soaked in the sun.
Mm-hmm. Vitamin D.
And naturally I said to myself, just being outside is helping me. Mm-hmm. I always tell people that you could take private lessons or you could be in a class setting. And I'd much rather be in a class setting so I have relationships with different people in that class because I'm the type of guy that I could get up at 8, go to Marie E.T., and sit there writing till 1, and then go home, go to your office, get on social media for an hour, return emails, and then talk to my wife, talk to my kid, and I could stay home. Mm-hmm. And I could do that for 3 or 4 nights in a row. And that sucks dick. That makes me go crazy. So the reason why I call in for spots at the Comedy Store is to force me to get off my ass and go down there because you can't cancel.
No.
So you have to go down there. When I'm driving back from the Comedy Store, I feel so satisfied at the end of the day that I accomplished my mission for the day.
Even if you have a bad set?
Even if I have a bad set. It's not about a bad set for a guy like me. It's about the same 2 things you guys are talking about. Human contact.
Yeah. That's
human contact.
You need it. We're human beings.
I'm talking about as soon as you wake up, I want you to give yourself an hour for you. And I want you to take that hour. I always when I get up in the morning, I thank the Lord that he gave me another day. And I thank the Lord that I didn't grow up. I'm not growing up in a house where at 6:30 in the morning, a bomb gets dropped in your house. Lee's getting shaved. I got to wait for him. We can't use the bathroom because Brody took a shit. It smells like fucking 10 people died in there.
Yeah.
The washing machine broke, so your shirt's not ready.
Oh.
So now you got to iron it by hand. Everybody's getting up in a bad mood. And now you got to get on a train in a bad mood. And everybody's late to work. I fucking hated that shit.
We don't want that.
That shit did not fly in my world. I know I needed to get up. I need a little break in the morning. I put music on. I get coffee. I sit there with a notebook that's wide open. I put Tuesday, November 13th on it. And I say it's a beautiful day to be alive. And from there, I just and I don't stop till the end of the page.
So you journal.
I journal in the morning to get the waste out. Today I'm going to do this, and this. I fucking don't want to do it because the 405 is going to have traffic on it. I talk myself out of everything I could talk myself out of, so it's all over. After that page, my day is decided. You know what? I was going to do What's-His-Name's podcast. I'm not driving to Marina Del Rey. I'm texting him at 9 o'clock and telling him, you're in no danger. That's when I decide how I feel. If I wake up and my back hurts and I can't move, then I'm not going to go to jiu-jitsu at 12. Let's make alternate plans. Who's got a podcast? You got a podcast? Yeah. When do you do it?
Wednesdays, too.
Well, let's do it tomorrow at 12. That's how I work because I don't want to skip. I don't know when I'm be available.
But it's about also, scheduling stuff.
Scheduling stuff and always keeping yourself busy. This business, what we do, let me tell you something. And I'm not going to do this to none of you people anymore because I know sometimes when comedians come on here, fucking in today's world, it gets crazy. If you get caught up in today's world between the internet,
oh yeah,
the media,
oh yeah,
and what's going on, you are going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention no names because I'm not here to embarrass nobody. But I think we have discussed that we've seen a couple of people lose their minds within the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah, on the internet.
On the internet, in public, we've heard of people losing their minds. There's too much information getting poured into the human mind right now.
Yep.
So right now, you have to learn how to control that too. You have to learn how to control that too, and decide on what level, how much of this are you going to take in. You know what? I'm listening to 11 podcasts a week. That's 33 hours. I got to chop it down to 5.
You do.
You know what? I'm watching too much fucking football. I got to chop it down to just Sundays. No more Thursday game. I'm going to take a shift to fucking Chili's as I cook. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to take an extra shift. You have to control what gets put into your mind right now because of what's going on in the world, what ABC News is feeding you, and when the internet is feeding you. It really, really is overwhelming for the mind.
Yeah, I don't look at the ABC News really. I'll glance at those guys, but I listen to KFI local radio here in LA, but I go on the internet for my news, and it's a battle out there, to be honest with you, how it is. And I wake up every morning, and a lot of times, to be honest, I'm up in the morning, I'm looking at that internet, I'm looking at that Twitter, and I'm trying to find things, and I do my sets at the Comedy Store, I come home, I go straight to Twitter, and I'm not on there like getting in fights with people, I'm just researching stuff. And I feel like I'm ahead of the game on what's happening. And I feel like the last few years with the politics the way they are, it has kind of pulled me into an area, at least my energy. Not necessarily, I'm not getting into fights on the internet, I'm not that guy, but it does get your blood boiling a little bit. But I do avoid it. But I'm digging in. I want everybody to be happy. I want to do whatever it takes to get it back to where we're happy and working together. And that's what I'm pulled in there too. It takes your time. And I feel like I'm not a part of that mob mentality. I'm a little different. I'm blue collar. I'm from the Valley. I grew up, and it bothers me. I don't like seeing comedian friends of mine angry on Twitter. So I try to block it and not see it, but it's a bummer for me. And so that can get to you.
I feel it's a tough time to be a human being right now. I feel mentally, if you get sucked in, it's a tough time to be a human being right now. You have to know your yin and your yang and your borders. You have to make time for yourself. You have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
You have to, you're talking to a guy that lived in his head for years, and it got me nowhere. It got me nowhere till I expressed what was in my head. That's when I started getting places, We overthink things, and in the process of thinking, we think ourselves out of the game.
Right.
There's nothing to think about. You get the idea, you get a piece of paper, you write it out, and you go to work.
So you weren't journaling during the years you were in your head?
Not even thinking about it. There was no journaling. There was nothing. There was no journaling in my life till 1994. that I started
Me too.
journaling my comedy stuff.
That's when I started.
And then I went to Seattle, and there was a skinny woman that was a comic that wasn't that funny, older, married. And one day she turned me on to a book called The Writer's Way or something. And she told me I could borrow it for a few days, and I read it. And in there, already I was doing it. In there, it recommended, that when you wake up in the morning, you should get a fresh piece of paper and express your thoughts for the day. And I was like, I'm on to something. If they're telling you this, and at this time, this was the hot book, the book.
Right.
The Writer's Way or The
Was
Right
it Jean
Way.
Perret?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't comedy writing. It was
Okay.
just writing and self-help. All in one.
Journaling. I learned that in college at Arizona State.
I never knew about journaling till comedy. And I remember when I used to get coked up, I would journal at night. Like telling myself this is the last time I'm going to do it. I have to stop this life. Even though I had a good set tonight, I'm making good moves in my life. Why am I still writing, doing coke? I think journaling is the best thing in the world for you. I think journaling is the best psychiatry. I think every Friday, every Saturday morning I wake up and I read what I read for the week. I read what I wrote from Monday on. Number one, everything that I write in that journal in the mornings gets done. Plus, I have another notebook that has my schedule. Plus, I have a calendar that has my schedule. And, I have 3 things to know my schedule. One is my day step by step. 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12:30, 4 o'clock, 5:30, 8 o'clock podcast, 10 o'clock spot at the Comedy Store. And then there's the journal part of it.
Right.
Where it's just a yellow notebook, and every day I wake up and I write backwards to front. So I start in the back and I write to the front. I don't start in the front. I start in the back and I write to the front. Just superstitious. I don't want to write like everybody else. I start in the back and I write to the front. And it opens up with Monday, November 13th. First line is always, it's a beautiful day to be alive. That's the first thought that's just coming to your head. I don't give a fuck if you're in a ditch and there's a rock on top of you. As long as you're breathing, if you say that to yourself, your day is going to be completely fucking different. It's been proven. It's been proven. People who pray, the limits go up.
You're not supposed to pray, they say, though. Thoughts and prayers.
You're not supposed to pray, but saying that to yourself, it's a beautiful day to be alive while you're pissing. While you're pissing. While that piss is coming out of you and your knee hurts and your neck is stiff from eating pussy and that you got a blister under your tongue from eating pussy and ass.
That can happen.
And the chick got chlamydia, it still doesn't matter. While you're peeing, if you say to yourself, it's a beautiful day to be alive, whatever shit comes into your mind on top of that, it's not going to matter. I got to go to court today. I'm broke. I'm hungry. I don't have money to pay the rent. If you say that to yourself first, it's a beautiful day. Every journal of mine starts like that.
Right.
Thursday, November 16th, it's a fucking beautiful fucking day to be alive. Today, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to go see this fucking scumbag. I got to go deal with this fucking piece of shit and whatever. I got to pick the baby up at 4. But hey, you know what? 20 years ago, I was fucking trying to stab somebody. Look where I am today. At least I'm living, I'm breathing, I'm healthy. I got my, it's just that part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like working on a TV show every day or working with the baseball team. You bring that energy in. Yes, we're here. Push. People like that. They like that energy, bringing it, lifting people up, positive self-talk. You have to do it because it does work. I know it sounds silly, but it does work to put that, you're putting that energy out. It really is an energy of, you're putting it out, and it does, I'm not saying it comes back to you, but you do put it out. And people like being around it. That's the thing. People like being around that. That's, it's like a coach. It's motivational, upbeat. It can be done. And you can kind of train yourself, I would think, at least to believe that it works. It's not easy to do, but if you believe it, you know it's there. And that's what I learned that from, I learned at Arizona State about the power of the mind, of being positive and visualizing, because I saw it affect my pitching. I saw it affect my schoolwork. I saw it affect my confidence. I got everything out of baseball at Arizona State that I wanted. And I apply those rules today, like at the Comedy Store. Playing Division I sports was a big thing. And I happen to go to Arizona State, where we have a lot of players in the major leagues. And we had access to professional baseball coaches there, and that's where I learned the visualization. And then I see it around when I hung out with the baseball teams, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Cubs, and there's something to it. So I'm not trying to figure it out still, but I know it's something there, and I got to apply it to myself a lot of the time. It's easy to say, but that's why I wouldn't mind being around in baseball.
CNN did a thing that bothered the fuck out of me. It bothered the fuck out of me because I felt that it gave an excuse. They had a docuseries called The Dark Side of Comedy.
The Dark Side of Comedy?
Yeah. And it had different comics, and they discussed Robin Williams and the suicides and and the drugs and the Kennisons and all this shit. And I agree with a lot of part of it. But I recently dealt with some shit. I don't know what it was. It started like in March, and it went on till maybe the second week of July after I shot the Netflix special. It wasn't pressure. It was just this doubt, this form of depression that came over me. It affected my stomach. And it was just really weird that I found out from reading the old journals about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I go, let me go back and see what I was writing in March.
Yeah.
And one thing about depression is a motherfucker if you let him in.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you let depression in? From getting into your mind and not getting sunlight. And not having contact. And I know all about it because, like I'm telling you guys, I fucking hate driving. I fucking hate it. But those weeks that I'm in town all week, like that I don't have to go on the road, sometimes I schedule something for Thursday that's out of my character. And the whole week I dread it. But while I'm driving in the 405 in bumper-to-bumper traffic, I go, thank God I got out of the valley. Like, thank God. Like, thank fucking God. Like, enough is enough. That's the other reason why I call for spots at the store. Makes me get out of the valley.
Yeah, we go over the hill every night.
Every night. I know I can't do it every night. But, guys, I suffer from the same thing you guys suffer from. I learned about it 20 years ago. Because 30 years ago, I could stay in. They could put me on a fucking island. That's my dream, guys. That's my dream. That my daughter grows up, my wife tells me she's going to go and live in fucking New York, and I fucking go, you know what? There's an island for 60 G's. Fucking the Navy dropped bombs there 20 years ago, and there's fucking nuclear reactive. I'll get a little chip of the island, get some chicken cutlets, some mash. I'm the type of guy that I could be alone all day. With music, marijuana, I swear to God.
Drums. I like drums.
Weights. A punching bag, TV, an internet.
Internet, will you podcast in Periscope?
No.
Oh.
Done. Lock myself in.
Oh.
I could be one of those guys that I could stay in. I could eat the same shit every day. I could eat a mortadella or salami and American cheese sandwich every day.
Oh.
Protein shakes. I could live on one every day. I'm a fucking creature of habit. So I scare myself with that shit. That's why I forced myself to get the fuck out. I went through that cocaine morning shit where you don't want to leave the house because the cops are watching you and all that. No. Ever since I stopped that, I forced myself out because I always knew that was the dark side of comedy. The dark side of comedy is getting into your mind. But it's not the dark side of comedy. It's the dark side of life.
Yeah.
It's the dark side of life. It's not the dark side of comedy. if you let depression in, so as soon as you start feeling that shit or that stuff that gets you all wound up, boom, that's it. You're out of it.
But
go smoke a joint. Go for a walk. Go
for a walk. Go book a gig.
Go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody. And I'm not talking about somebody that you pay. I'm talking about go talk to
a friend.
A friend. Somebody at a Starbucks who's there every day who sees you. Just forcing yourself. You know, I do a stupid joke about the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's very true. You get back what you put in.
Yes.
You know, you're lonely, go to a kickboxing class. There's 8 people in there. You're going to jive with one of those people. That 1 hour of you talking to those other people, that gets you out of your head. Your phone's in the car. Your mother's fine. The only person you got to worry about is your mother and your father. Everything else is bullshit. Warner Brothers ain't going to call you while you're in kickboxing class. Nobody's going to call you while you're in kickboxing class. There's times I go to like a jiu-jitsu class and I'm like, oh, when I get in the car, there'll be 8 missed messages.
No.
You ain't got nothing. Nobody called you. Nobody's going to call you. But just the thought of getting away from the phone.
Yeah.
Just that other thing. Just forcing you away from that phone. 1 hour. It's in the car. And if it melts, let it fucking melt. I got insurance. What am I going to do?
But just getting away from...
That's all this is. All this is lately is we have too much fucking information. Why do you think comedy's so big right now? Why do you think I'm telling you to do a show in the daytime? Because, man, I wouldn't fucking say this if I didn't believe in it. 5 years ago, I would not believe this statement.
Okay.
People need comedy.
They do. We're telling the truth.
People love it.
They
love it.
That's why, especially, we're on the front lines at the Comedy Store. We're here in Hollywood, and I feel like if you have stage time,
you're fucking just watching you interact with the donut Korean. Let's say you went to the same Cold Water in Riverside. Next to the dry cleaners, there's a Krav Maga Jew place. There's a Chinese
donut
place.
in there.
There's a Donut Inn on the corner.
I know what.
There's a Mexican joint there.
Yep.
There's a frozen ice.
Shaved ice. Those people are real Korean in there. I went in there one day to get a bagel. I asked them for like a fucking, and the guy tried to sell me like that Korean is ruthless. He's like, put it on pumpkin bagel. Listen, you don't put logs on pumpkin bagel. I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? He don't give a fuck. I have no onion, but I have blueberry. Put logs on blueberry. That's good for you. Oh, good for you.
You go in there and torture that dude every day on camera for 3 minutes. That's a series. For 4 minutes a day, people will pay $1 to see you go into that donut place and ask that motherfucker, you got any cinnamon donuts? He'll tell you, I tell you yesterday I got no cinnamon donuts. And you just run from there.
But I know
every day you open up and say,
please tell me you don't ask that guy every day for like a...
I would. If I knew that China guy would get pissed off, I'd walk in there every day knowing that he didn't have a donut. And then I'd start sending people in there. Like, that's the best.
So wait, so you torture people to keep your brain sharp? Like, you torture people just to, like, entertain, like you're, like, just doing it to, like,
it's worth
my socializing.
It's worth a few Patreons.
Oh, my God.
You have no idea how much fun you can have on the internet today. If I had the time and the energy, I'd just go into Yum Yum every day. The Yum Yum Minute. Just go in there and torture them. How many calories in the donut? And them like looking at you like, they don't know the language.
You go in every day and you ask a different calorie and you never get a donut.
But that's the thing now. Today,
you have any gluten-free donuts? Gluten.
You have almost like no reason to be, not saying no reason to be depressed, but there's so many outlets. Before, like, if you were staying home, you were sick, you had like 10 channels on TV and that's it. Now you've got so many. Yes, there's a lot of drawbacks to the internet and social media and all that, but there are a lot of positives associated with it. You just got to be able to maintain it and also know that it can be used for some good.
Well, I mean, times have changed. I don't know, but you guys are in hotels every week pretty much. Whenever I go to a hotel, I used to love, I would have TV on, I'd watch SportsCenter, this and that. I'll be in a hotel room for a weekend and not turn it on.
See, I watch TV.
I force myself to leave the hotel room every 2 hours. Smoke a joint. That's why I bring extra weed. I smoke a joint. I get the gym. I force myself to leave the room every 2 hours. And I force myself to leave the hotel room for a patch. I force myself on Saturday to go to lunch with somebody. You know, somebody from the club owner. I do little things, but just enough to scratch that itch. I can't go to a baseball game for 7 innings. You know, I do enough just to scratch that itch.
So when you go to town, you'll schedule appointments with people to keep that human contact going.
Right. I'll schedule a Muay Thai class. When I went to Jersey this week, I took a private jiu-jitsu class in Jersey on Friday. You know, I went to the gym on Saturday. I have to force myself, because if not, I will sit in front of that iPad and I will watch. You know what I love about the road?
What do you love?
You know why I go on the road?
To watch your iPad?
Nope. It's not to make money. I love to meet different people and make people laugh. I go on the road for Friday night.
That's your night?
That's my night.
To go do a great show, make them laugh, meet people, memories, put out good energy.
And no, I don't have to do shit on Saturday morning.
And you like that?
That means I could go back and anything goes on Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means that if you come up to me and give me 2 Vicodins, I might go back to the room and pop one, put on a pot of coffee, get a notebook out, and I'll watch. I swear to God, I got no reason to lie to none of you. I'll watch 5 episodes of Sons of Anarchy.
Jesus.
Lee, how much do I yell at you for watching TV?
A lot, yeah.
On Friday nights when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
That's me. That's my gift for leaving my family. I get a table. I put my feet up with a pillow to elevate above my heart because I've just been on stage for 2 hours.
Yep.
And I just sit there. I bring a vapor pen. I bring nicotine gum.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I bring a bag of Doritos up to my room. And sometimes I eat it. Sometimes I leave it for the maid. I get coffee going. And whatever.
Coffee after the show?
In my room. It's my night to do whatever the fuck I want. On Friday night after a show, I can't wait to get back to the hotel. Sometimes somebody will give me a pill or something, and I'll hold it for when I go on the road to drop it that night while I'm in the hotel on Friday night. Like, if you give me 2 Vicodins, I'll hold on to them. And I know that when I go to Portland Friday night after the show, I'll pop 2 Vicodins and go home, and I'll scratch. And I'll watch Narcos, and I'll watch 4 episodes of Narcos and not blink an eye. I could do that. That, to me, is fun. Because I know I'm going to get up at 8. I'm still going to go for breakfast. And I'm going to go back to my room and sleep another 3 hours. I'm still going to get up early. And I'm still going to go to breakfast. I still force myself up to breakfast, walk downstairs. It sucks. But I make myself do it. Just to even talk to the waitress. Bump into, hey, that was a good show last night. Thank you. Then you go back to your room. Sleep for 3 hours. Get up. I'll watch a Narcos.
Right.
I'm out. Come back. 2 more hours writing. Out. 1.5 hours writing. Out. Go roll a joint. Smoke a half a joint, hide it behind a building. Come back. That's what I do. I don't walk into the hotel with that joint in my hand and the whole room smells. I get the thing and I put a rock on top of it. And I come back 2 hours later and I take the rock off it and I smoke the other half.
And how do you stay disciplined on all of this? Is this what makes you happy, makes the shows better, you feel better?
This is what makes the show better. This is what makes me better. We are creatures of whatever. We have to force ourselves. And I didn't know this. You have to force yourself sometimes out of your comfort zone. Comfort zone is a big fucking word, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's an ugly fucking word. And once you feel yourself in that comfort zone, get in the fucking car.
Get out of the comfort zone.
Get out. It was pretty funny. Lead to the show this week. And it was, I fell in love with Brody, 19 years ago at a bar in Gig Harbor. I'll never forget. And I'll never forget what he said, how he said it, in the pause that he said it. That's when I knew Brody was real. He was on stage. And I've told this. He's yelling and screaming. And in the middle of it, he turned around. And there was a bunch of photographs on the wall. He's up on stage yelling and screaming, and he just stops and he goes, "How come there's no Jews up on the wall?" He goes, "Next time I come here, there better be Jews on the wall. I'll never come to Gig Harbor again. I'm in the back with Josh Wolf. He's a kid. I'm howling." But I fell in love with you. Gig Harbor.
Yep.
That gig was a gig of death.
Yep. Cross of Arizona's bridge from Tacoma.
It wasn't no fucking evening at the Pops. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So the other night, Lee goes down to Eddie Bravo's 15th reunion. They throw this poor bastard on stage while the UFC's on. He's up there, and the Korean Zombie gets knocked out, and poor Lee's up there with his A material.
In front of the screen.
Thinking he's on Conan. Today, somebody came up to me, and by the way, we were at the 10th Planet party. We feel so bad for Lee. He went up to I swear to God. Swear to God, they were like,
tough spot.
Who the fuck did that to him?
I survived. I did my stuff.
But it's weird. He called his friend Eric, gay Eric, our buddy Eric Rocha, and Eric bought him a beer because he was so depressed. He felt it. And I explained to him last night, I go, I've been doing comedy 27 years. I opened for Rogan, I opened for Dice. I did all these gigs, and I got to tell you something. Half of your career is those rooms. When you get there and the Seattle Mariners are in the playoffs, and it's the 7th inning, and coming to the stage,
those tough
Brody,
bar gigs,
and you hear like, boo, boo, we want to watch the game, put the game on. Well, they got to do comedy, and also the owner gets into an argument. They do comedy here. We don't give a fuck about comedy. All right, put the game on, but take the volume off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, oh, my God. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, that's it, And you're up there on stage dying a slow death, thinking about career choices. You just went on ZipRecruiter. You looked, it's fucking harm. But then you do a guest spot at the Underground.
In Seattle.
You kill them, and that makes all that go away. Because your strength isn't from going on stage in the Seattle Underground. Your strength is from going on stage at those places.
The hell gigs.
Where they're not
the
there
youth
to see
hostels.
You. Yeah, where they're not there to see you.
The bar
I'm
gigs.
Here to get a gram of blow.
The gig
get
harbors.
my dick sucked. And a chubby Jew wants to go on stage and do comedy. Well, I got this chick by the ear.
Yeah.
I got this chick by the ear, and some fucking Jew and a fucking fat Cuban are going to go up on stage and try to be funny. People hate that shit. Especially when it's unexpected.
It's weird because I did an unexpected one earlier that week and it went fine. It went pretty well. But then I did a show on Thursday at a burger place, but it went okay. But I was talking to Jerry Rocha and the guy who runs the show, Justin, and he was saying,
"Oh, Bear Burger."
Yeah.
That's a good room.
It was fun. I've done it twice. But they were saying that they did a show with someone who didn't get booed off stage, got talked off stage, and that's pretty much. I had a section of the crowd listening, but what they were saying was it's not that they didn't like them, it's that they were just indifferent. They were just like the people. The crowd was just talking amongst themselves so loud that the comic got off stage.
Well, in those rooms is where you learn presence.
Yep.
You learn how to fake the funk. You learn how to. It's a weird thing to describe. You have to learn how to overtake them without overtaking them, because if not, you get a bottle thrown at your fucking head. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
I've seen it and I've heard about it. I was at a bar one night where they were flipping bottle caps at the counter.
Jesus.
Like, and they got like a red light on them, and you can see the bottle caps whizzing, and you can see the comics like ducking from time to time.
That still happens?
No, I don't. I haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a fucking country bar somewhere, or some fucking crazy bar somewhere that they're still, throwing things at people. When we used to do Moscow, Idaho, they would send you 25 shots.
Oh yeah,
of tequila with Tabasco sauce in it.
Jesus. And you had to do them.
Oh my God, they boo you off the stage.
Holy shit.
And you had a half hour, and the trick was to kill the feature and to just make the headline and go into fucking convulsions.
That's what they wanted to do.
That's what they wanted to do.
They didn't care about the comedy.
The first time you did a shot of tequila, when you weren't on stage 5 minutes, and they were giving you what was it called? A prairie fart or a prairie dog.
Oh my God.
They would give you, see what it's called, tequila and Tabasco. Lee.
Bellingham. Not
No.
Bellingham.
Moscow, Idaho.
Yeah.
Close to Idaho State.
Yeah, Washington.
Idaho State University. I
Yeah,
think
the
it's close to,
Vandals.
because that's the college that Drew Bledsoe went to.
Prairie Fire.
Prairie
There
Fire.
you go.
Let me tell you something, Lee. Think about going on stage, okay?
Oh my god.
You're opening up for
A magician.
Theo Vaughn
Okay.
at this hotel, and it's all college students, 200 college students, and you go up on stage, and 5 minutes into your act, a waitress comes up to you with a shot. You can't tell her, like, what's in it? What's in this shot? I'm not drinking tequila. As soon as you turn on that shot, it's going to be the 25, and you can't get off because you won't get paid. You can't get off because you won't get paid. Jesus. So they're going to the club owner's going to say to you, you only did 21. I got to call the booker and see what to do.
Oh my.
So now you look like a fucking jerk off. So you have to either drink that shot and take what comes with it, because they're not going to pay it. And your material is not worthy of anything. Just take the shots and talk about getting drunk with them. That's what your 30 minutes is going to be about.
Wow.
That's what these road gigs are like.
I did that Moscow, Idaho 10 fucking times. And after the third time, I got it. Sorry, Charlie. It's not going to be any different. First 2 times, I just bombed. I drank them. The third time, I puked in the sink. I'll never forget that. I puked in the sink.
Jesus.
And then every time after, I just brought cocaine with me. And I didn't get sick anymore. The one time I had the bed spins.
Yeah, I don't want that.
It's fucking bad. And there were 10, the 8-ball end in Missoula, Montana was like that. There was 20 bars. That dog, as soon as you went on stage, give him a shot of whiskey. Give him another shot of whiskey. And you better drink them.
God forbid you had to drive to another gig then at night.
There's no you don't even think about it. It's over. You're sleeping in the car and you're gonna fucking drive 90 the whole morning.
Well, I was thinking about this when you told me that Brody was coming in. I was like, you, Joey, and Brody are probably 2 of the most comfortable people on stage. Like, I feel like you feel comfortable on stage.
Can be, yeah.
And like, it blows my mind that you, Brody, will go on in the main room and do like the drumming. Like, it's. I just did the main room for my first time ever, and I got there like an hour early,
right,
and was petrified. Like, how have you always been that comfortable, or did it take years to get that sort of, like, that's a level of comfort that most people don't have?
It took a long time, but once I went for it, once you like take that milk and you pour it into that cereal, you go for it. So
well, I gotta be honest with you, you had it the night I met you. The night that you did that, you had that already. So you already had that. I don't give a fuck. I'm shitting my pants. But I don't give a fuck attitude. I could tell you were shitting your pants, but you were taking chances.
Chances.
We were young comics.
Yeah.
In 95, I'd been doing comedy for 4 years on paper. But 2 years, come on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You want to do this? About 2.5 years. Come on, motherfucker. And then they featured me for Laurie Kilmartin, and I didn't go back to Boulder. I was like, I found a home.
Right.
I was thinking about when I first found my real niche. Like, I was just going up there and trying to tell jokes and finding yourself. And then one Monday, I got back with the stripper. She invited me to her house. We had tremendous sex. I fucked her in the ass, came in the mouth, the whole fucking thing.
Nice.
We went grocery shopping. I had $175 to my name. Groceries were $140, and she looked at me, and I paid for $140 worth of groceries. I had $35. We went back to her house. She made me turkey burgers with mushrooms and onions and with something on the side, a salad. It was 6:30. My clothes were there. I was going to stay. We were back together. And she started talking about some guy she had fucked. And we got into an argument. And I'll never forget that. I said, can I at least get half the money from the groceries? And she goes, fuck you. Last time I paid for groceries. So here I am at the Underground with my luggage.
Oh, no.
Behind the counter, everything I owned. $35 in my pocket. Nowhere to sleep. And I went up there on a Monday night. And I said 2 or 3 jokes, Lee. And I just went into this. For years, I had that tape. I gave it to Joe Rogan. It was one of the first times that Joe Diaz came out. That was one of the first, and he came out and went right back in. Like he got scared. When I saw it on tape, it petrified me. I went up there and said exactly what, like I went up there and tried to be cute, and all of a sudden I go, who the fuck am I kidding? I want to kill this fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And I just went on a rant. I destroyed that room. You know, and I forget the bit I got from it. Like, I got a joke from it. I'm dating a stripper. We were in love. Everything was going great. Then I ran out of money. Something like stupid. And I just ran with it. And then I went into the fucking ball and chain something. And then I went into why. And this is when OJ was hot. Like that.
Yeah, 95.
And then I started going into why. Now I know why he killed that bitch. And people were like, but that was the first time that I had done comedy. It took me 4 years to really find my voice. And then I said, that's never going to happen again. Like, I was so scared of that guy coming out. And it took 5 years for that guy to come out again.
Jesus.
So you have it. It just never, the day it comes out on the way home, you're like,
uh-oh,
what the fuck happened tonight?
So you know you have it. You can go into that gear. You can go to that spot. So you that was at the Comedy Underground down
Yes,
there?
on a Monday night.
That was the open mic night.
I had a thick beige sweater on with like a stripe on. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget somebody saying, hey, I taped that set. And me looking at them going, no, you didn't. And they're like, yeah, I'll have it for you at the end of the week.
Nice.
Somebody taped that set for me, and I popped it in, and tears rolled down my face. Like, I was like, oh, my God. Who is that person?
That club was Seattle was just a great spot for me to start. And
that's who you first got on stage, or that was?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, when I moved back here, I graduated college, Arizona State, never did anything other than an acting class. Then I came back here in summer of 93, and I took a workshop at UCLA with Pauly Shore's sister, knowing that the Comedy Store sponsored it. So it was a way for me to get into the Comedy Store. I knew that it was a way to possibly get seen. So we did the workshop, and then every Wednesday I'd drive by the Comedy Store one day. Maybe I'll be in there. And then I did my graduating workshop there in the original room. It was packed. I did well. People were giving me business cards. I felt like I was a comedian. Then I did one open mic out in Chatsworth like next night, and it was a typical open mic, which was like not a wake-up call, but I didn't want to go through that, being that I'm from the Valley. I just got done playing baseball. It was going to be hard for me to have somebody probably not from the Valley running the show, giving me like, hey, kid, whatever. I knew the open mic. I just didn't want, I did one open mic to know it wasn't for me. And I went back to UCLA, and I took the business of comedy class. I wanted to learn all about comedy. And then the guy said, if you want to do stand-up, you got to get out of Los Angeles. That's what he told me.
Who taught the class? Do you remember?
Danny Robinson, APA.
No shit.
Yeah.
Do you still see him from time to time?
Time to time.
He still says hello to you? He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He represents Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, he taught the workshop, and he said, it's good to get away. And then I looked into going either back to Phoenix, where I had friends, but no real feel for supportive art. I didn't feel that vibe when I went to school there. But my aunts and uncles lived up in Seattle, and they said, come up to Seattle. They support the arts up here. And then they had the Northridge earthquake in 94. I was working at Macy's, Bullock's over there at Topanga Promenade Mall. And the earthquake happened, got in the car and left and drove up to Seattle, stayed with my family out in Bellevue area. And then I just jumped into doing the open mics at the Comedy Underground. Just jumped into it, meeting people. Then I got a job at the Comedy Underground, learning I just wanted to learn everything about comedy.
What did you do at the Comedy Underground?
Just sat people, on Fridays and Saturdays. Clay was the gent ran it, with the long hair.
I still talk to him on Facebook.
Oh, really? Isn't he like in Asia or something?
Yeah, he's in Asia, Indonesia or something.
Yeah, he taught me all about
Clay Jones.
Yeah.
Clay Jones.
He was an interesting guy, and he taught me all about how the club ran and all the stories behind it. And I just learned about how to seat a room, run a room, see a three-person non-showcase show. I learned about comedy there in Seattle. And luckily, there's some great comedians, and there was just, coffee shops. That's where I learned to write. I learned to drink coffee in Seattle. The environment up there was really conducive to being an artist. And then we had the cable access, me and Tana, we jumped on that. We did that. And it was just it was a great community up in Seattle where I found my voice. And then after 3 years, because I started up there, I could tell like I was only getting maybe guest spots, but I was itching to get out. I was itching. I kind of like found my voice and I wanted to do more. And then you told me, Joey, you said, Brody, you got to go to New York. And then I went to New York, and that's where I really like broke out and found my voice, just talking and walking, getting off the subway, the L train, and walking the Lower East Side with my headphones on and visualizing, feeling like, yeah, I'm cool, okay, like giving myself that confidence. Because I had some based off the cable access show and mostly that, because I wasn't really getting great spots at the Comedy Underground. I mean, maybe a guest, I wasn't their guy, and I understood. But when I went to New York, I felt that energy, and I really honed my voice doing the Lower East Side shows, and then I barked at the Comedy Cellar, but I was so because I thought it would lead to getting a spot, but I was intimidated by Esty, so I never really asked her how to get on. I was intimidated, but I saw the Comedy Cellar bark them in, so I knew Dave Attell, Judah, Gaffigan, Todd Barry, Marin. I saw how that room was run, but I still wasn't doing it. But New York is where, I started doing shows, though, some alternative shows with Todd Barry and Marin and Dave Chappelle, and I was holding my own. And I just felt like I can come back home to Los Angeles, and I have a marketable skill, and my friends were coming out here that I met in New York were working for shows. So when I got here in 2000, I had a place to stay, I had a car, I knew my way around, and then boom, I got a spot on CBS late show with Kilborn. I did a premium blend, and then I got Best Damn Sports Show, and then the rest is history. So if you want to say that, but I kind of like New York is where I really I honed it. And as a kid growing up here in the Valley, I wanted to go to New York City. I wanted that gritty skyscraper energy. And, that's what it gave them. You told me to go there, and that's where I just started talking. That's why I did Surf Reality, because they weren't into jokes. It was like talking. So I talk about what was on my mind, getting mad about just New York stuff or what have you. So I did that, and then warm up helped me professionally, like being around celebrities or whatever, and then just doing shows and then going for it. And it's like, this is the major leagues. Now, once you're here in LA, to have thoughts like, I'm not confident. What are they going to think? And I don't have that. It's like I can't. This is it. So I feel like I've done pretty good in terms of I have a lot of my resume is wide and vast. I just haven't really capitalized on one thing and have done that, whatever that one thing may be.
Well, I got to tell you something. I almost had a tear in my eye a couple minutes ago.
Oh, really?
You mentioned Seattle because. I had this discussion with Duncan on his podcast, how I would love to tell you there's not a God. I would love to tell people that there's not a God or a higher force or a higher power. But me going to Seattle was a pivotal point in my life. Pivotal, looking back at it, even though I got arrested 6 times.
Right.
It was the pivotal point in my life. It took me completely out of my comfort zone. I still remember going to the Underground. I got into town at 1 a.m. on Friday night, slept, got up at 9:30, went and got eggs, and took a bus down to the Comedy Underground.
Mm-hmm.
And just looked in there, and it was Swanee's.
Yeah, Swanee's upstairs.
The club was downstairs, and all I wanted to do was to figure out how to get a spot. And I was there, and the bar was closed, and I'm looking through the fucking glass, and my heart's pumping, because I'm at the fucking Comedy Underground. And then I went back Sunday, and they told me to come back on Monday, and that was the happiest day of my life, that fucking Sunday. When they said come back on Monday and sign up for the open mic. And I signed up, and the guy was great to me, and I dropped the name, Rick Kearns, and The guy's like, yeah, we'll put you up. And I was like, I do not believe this. I'm at the Comedy Underground. Like, I do not believe this. And then a kid walked in with a Boston Red Sox hat on backwards.
I know who that was.
And it was Josh Wolf.
There you go.
I just latched onto him. I said, you're from the East Coast? Yeah, you got to fill me in on what's going on here. I came on heavy to Josh. And I remember him being like kind of intimidated.
Yeah.
I called him every day for a week. Like, what the fuck? Call me back. But I was just so ready. And then Carl Warmenhaven,
assistant manager.
I will be, it's like, I'll be indebted to him for the rest of my life. I can never say no to him if he calls me for something. Because that year and a half with him was an education, that I was not going to get in Denver. I was not getting that comedy education in Denver.
Seattle knew comedy, the arts. There's a reason why all those companies are up there.
The contest took me to a different level.
Yep.
Just doing the contest.
I remember those.
And coming in like 6th to 7th took me to a different level. And then being there, like being the feature act every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks I was the feature act. Mm-hmm. I knew how to manipulate John Fox. I knew how to manipulate Giggles. I knew how to, get Bellingham. I had him on rotation. On Monday, I would fax Pat Wilson. I would fax Donna Reed in Portland. Yeah. I would fax Alberto, who booked the Music Box.
I remember him.
Downtown. In those days, Monday at 9, I was already on the corner. I didn't have a fax machine. Giving them a quarter of fax, a cover sheet, and a fucking schedule. Fake. Fake schedule. Completely fake. Bogus. Thank God a lot of comedy clubs didn't have web pages in those days.
Right.
But I would make up fucking dates. Like, don't give me this. Like, let's say this week here, if I was home, I would say I'm in Caroline's in New York. I would just flat out lie on the resume and then leave 3 weeks open so they could see I was open, and hopefully they'd give me a Thursday at the Music Box or a Saturday. Alberto booked 2 things. Mm-hmm. Pat Wilson had like 4 things. Donna Reed had like 8 things.
Ron Reed's wife. Well, she was a manager. She was a manager.
She was a manager, but she
Laura.
had Laura Crocker, rest in peace. Yep. That bitch had...
She had Josh.
She had Josh, but that bitch had 15 rooms in those days. She had 15 to 20 rooms. She had those 2 Mexican rooms, that 1 room up in Kent.
Yeah.
She had rooms, Jack.
See, she didn't really book me.
She didn't book me, but I got back at her. I would call her and ask her for guest spots, and I could feel her pussy hairs tightening up when I called. Because she hated me with every piece of her heart. She hated me all the way down to her toes. But I would call her 3 times a week and go, hi, Donna. What was her name?
Was it Donna?
No,
Laura.
How you doing, Mrs. Crocker? Joey Diaz. And I could hear her go, I'm going to go down to your club tonight and do a guest spot. Is that okay with you? She would not pay me. She never paid me a dime. But till today, I thank her because her hatred made me a better comic.
There you go.
I proved myself to her that I was better than she was. She might have hated me, but I did a free spot in her rooms 3 nights a week. And the club owners would say, why don't you work here? Because she won't book me.
I mean, Seattle was like that, It's like if you're a big guy, an Italian guy. Seattle and Italy, it's like Italians, 2 different things. Or
the thing about that I learned early on, the thing I learned early on was that, and this was a no-brainer. I think it was a guy named, there was a magician who worked the Triple Run, and he came in on a Tuesday, and he was a sweetheart of a guy, and I had him sleep over. This is my first year of comedy. At this point, I was probably doing comedy 9 months. And I let him sleep over at my house. I was divorced, and I had 2 bedrooms. And the Triple Runs in those days went Tuesday night, Boulder, Wednesday night, you're off. So a feature act would pick up $50 cash and have to pay $40 for a hotel room. Because you were off.
Right.
You were off. So that means you had to pay for your own hotel Wednesday night. Then Thursday was Craig. Friday was Gunnison, and Saturday was fucking the Edge of Hell Telluride.
These were tough gigs.
The Denver run was a big week. Craig, Colorado was the only room that in the thing it said this room gets active. The stage was 30 feet away and there was glass and they would throw shit.
Oh, really?
And they said if something happens, go to your room, lock yourself in, and call the 911. I mean, the fucking thing it said would just make you laugh. Like underneath the room, they said, caution, this room gets active. So
Active.
what I would do in those days would if the headliner or the feature were cool, I'd give them my number and say, call me when you check out. You got a couch to sleep on tomorrow night. And some of those guys were Doug Stanhope, the guy that took Freddie Prince's place in Chico and the Man. I had a couple guys stay over, but one guy stayed over that wasn't the funniest guy in the world, but he was a magician comic, and he was kind of a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a list of bookers, like those guys that have those sheets.
Yeah.
We went to the printing place, and he made like 20 sheets of bookings. But he told me something. I said to him, do you think I should go to New York? And he goes, why would you want to do that? There's 1,000 of you in New York. He goes, there's 1,000 of you in Boston. He goes, you got to find the market where there's nobody else like you. So you could shine. You could be unique, and people will hire you. That's why when the opportunity for Seattle came up, I was like, I'm going.
Yeah, Seattle, it's...
Because this is the same thing I told you, and I also told this to Mitch Hedberg.
Ooh.
The reason why I told you guys this is because they had 1,000 of you out here. There's 1,000 goofy white guys. They don't have that in New York. Now they do. Now they got everything in New York.
Right.
But not 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was a lot of guys like me, and everybody talked to the audience, which is a bad habit that you pick up in New York. You talk to the audience. So the hosts were different.
Yeah.
So when I talked to Hedberg, God rest his soul, and I told him, there's nobody like you in New York. He hit in New York.
Went to New York.
Because there's nobody like you there. That's where you're going to get love. Where there are people like you, it's no love. I knew when I saw you that there wasn't nobody like you in New York at that time.
Yeah.
Now there's 1,000 guys trying to be Brody Stevens. It don't work. You follow me? Then they become themselves.
Yeah.
When we all start, we start being somebody else. Then we become ourselves. We evolve into ourselves.
I just think like comedians, I try to send them to New York City, try and spend some time there, go there. I moved there. I lived there for 3 years. I wasn't going back and forth. I was living there. And I got to experience that New York lifestyle, taking the subway and being, it wasn't like who you were, it was what you were. People, you were like, didn't matter what you looked like. New York, nobody cared. Whereas LA, I grew up here in LA. I went to school in Arizona. It's completely different from New York. Just New York just really gave me that confidence. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That's what they say. And I just recently went back to New York last month, and I felt that energy again, just walking around that city and, getting out of Los Angeles here, getting out of the Valley, just getting into that and getting off the internet, getting out of your head, walk in that city, and you walk in, and it inspires you, and you start saying to yourself, I don't need to have these meds, I don't need to have all these things and overthink it. You jump in and you got to sink or swim there. It's good for you. I think most comedians should strive to live, if they can, there for time.
I did a 10-month stint there in the beginning, and it woke me the fuck up. Like, it let me know who the fuck I was, what I wanted, and what I needed to do to get to my goals. Like, and that's why I went right back to Denver with a firecracker in my ass. And I went to Denver and I worked every night. And I took that work ethic up to Seattle. And in Seattle, it was double the work.
Right.
So now I had double the payload. No matter what you do in life, you have to sacrifice, man. And you have to get out of your comfort zone to get to where you want to be. Whether you're an artist or fucking, you play the trumpet, but you play the trumpet in fucking in Utah. Who wants to listen to a trumpet in Louisiana? You got to go to a jazz bar in Minneapolis. or a jazz bar in New Orleans, or a jazz bar in LA. Sometimes you gotta, and people can't make that step, so they never fulfill what the fuck they wanted to do. When you came in tonight and you said you got off those meds, I gotta tell you something, Brody. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud that like you said, well, whatever.
I'm calm.
And one thing about me is, man, I put myself in the worst case scenario, and I told you, I said, and it was a joke, and we laughed. A couple of years ago, you were in a rubber room, fucking squatting imaginary flies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like you in a rubber room saying, "Help! There's a fly who's talking to me."
I was combative with the Filipino nurses. They threatened me with a needle. But I don't need to be here. I made a mistake. Go look on the internet. I'm a good guy. I kept telling him, look me up. But that was a crazy time. But I was kind of to be honest, I couldn't believe that I was in the UCLA hospital.
How many days to have you over there for?
17.
No, they didn't.
They wouldn't let me leave. It went from 3 days to 6 days to 9 days.
Did you make any meaningful relationships in there? Did you meet anybody in there that you've contacted since? And
no.
Right? Okay.
One girl attacked me over chocolate ice cream.
I spent 17 days.
Yeah.
Now, who knew about this at the time? Did your mom know?
My mom. I mean, people knew, I think, because I was tweeting about it. I think I just needed to dry out because I went off those meds cold turkey. I made a mistake. I went to Ireland. I went to Montreal. They told me to take a victory lap. I'm having fun. I actually took a little less because I wanted to. I'd always wanted to not maybe be on the Lexapro, which is common. But I also knew that going to Dublin, and I was researched okay, if you want to drink a beer, maybe cut back a little bit. I cut back, and then I got sick in Montreal right after. It was a 2-week trip altogether, and then they gave me the Z-Pack, and I had strep throat, and then they gave me the Z-Pack. I felt better, and I said, I feel great. I don't need these. I don't think I need the meds anymore. I'm through this period. And then, but here's the thing. I'm
still laughing about 17 days. They had you one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Well, you know what? It was
Did you write anything about this?
I wrote. I have my notes somewhere, but I felt. I mean,
Can we do a short film about your 17-day stint in there, and you be brutally honest, what you did and shit in there? That's the secret right there. If we could recreate.
I played ping pong. I smoked menthol cigarettes.
What's menthol?
Menthol.
Menthol. Listen to the radio. Watch TV.
You talk to anybody when you're in there? Or you just.
Not really, but I had a lot of visitors, a lot of friends who came by. Oh, Zach came by, Nick Kroll, Steve Renazizi.
I didn't even know you were in there. This is crazy. This is the first time.
Yeah, I had a booker. They were bringing people in, We could have got you in, worked you in.
And where were you?
UCLA, right over the hospital there, Ronald Reagan, I guess, psychiatric ward. But I wasn't, I because I've felt that way before. Well, not necessarily. I just know not to go. You just can't do it.
What was the trigger that time?
I think when I came back, so I went.
What do you need to avoid to stay off the meds and not end up back there? What is the what does Brody Stevens back at UCLA swatting flies, talking to Chinese people?
Okay, so it's feast or famine on
Filipino.
this one.
Yeah, torture Filipino.
I don't know. I mean, I should probably have some a support system with this, but I'm being my own advocate. I know my body. I'm mature. I know choices. I'm not saying that I won't ever go back on a medication. We'll see. But so far, I'm trying to implement a life skill. Like socializing, booking, working, being an adult, and taking supplements, doing my comedy, believing in myself. I'm just calmer. My body feels better. I'll say that. For me to not go back, I mean, I never had a problem before or after. I had a reaction to these medications because I was never headed like this guy's. I was never going to be like something like that. I went off them. It was just, and I was agitated. It's like I attacked a guy at a couple Starbucks, a 7-Eleven. I was like road rage guy. But I was just. But
Did you get banned from the Starbucks for a while?
No comment. No. No. Here's what happened. I felt when I got back, I think my friends saw me and they were surprised, like, "Oh, Brody, you're not yourself." But I felt like, okay, I'm, I feel better. I'm not the audience warm-up guy. I'm Brody now. I got this show on HBO happening. I have good things happening. So I came back confident, and I think people were a little like taken aback that, oh, he's confident. We're not used to this guy. Because I did the TMZ show. They loved it. I did it that day. I did a taping. I did a show at UCB, and I did fine. I was just out of my character. They weren't used to it. And then when they questioned me, then I became defensive, and I became agitated. So, and this was like a first time of it happening. And then you tie in the Twitter. That's the other thing. I had that outlet to go, to lash out. But I was also, I did stuff on Twitter also. Saying like F you.
Well, the Twitter thing was what I had heard, that you were cracking on Twitter. I did hear that. I heard something about a roof.
No roof. No. I was never. I never. I felt great.
Not that you were going to jump or nothing. That you climbed or something.
No.
I don't know.
No climbing. Climbing.
I don't know. You on a zip line with Lee and you took it down. I don't fucking know.
I did go on Twitter and I was lashing out, but part of it is because I did TMZ and these guys, and I felt like, hey, I did a good job. And these guys are saying I'm out of my mind. F you. I know what I'm doing. And I just had all this confidence in not being on the medication to like hold me back. I was basically manic. That's all. I mean, not that's all, but that's what was happening to me. And it was freaking people out. So they called the police as opposed to maybe saying, hey, Brody, maybe let's go to Santa Barbara for a few days and chill. It could have been handled that way, looking back on it, to be honest with you. Because I've learned since, like, you could, believe me, if I take Red Bulls and do something, I know I could like get agitated. I just typical signs of stopping the meds cold. That could have happened to anybody. So I don't feel like I have that's something that's in me whether going to happen. I don't think so. I would hope not. I don't know. We'll see how I deal with stress. That's why podcasting, that's why having a support system. I started doing the periscopes after all this to check in and be more, and be more present, and walking,
brilliant.
making
That's
appointments.
Brilliant. The periscopes are brilliant. That's brilliant. I didn't know you used it therapeutically also.
I did that a little bit after, yeah. Like, this was like a year or two after, but definitely like walking became therapeutic, like getting out of the house. I learned to get out and walk and go to the Starbucks. People like associate me with going to Starbucks. That's because I walked to it. I made it known, like I'm known for being out.
So you're forcing, again, you're doing what we discussed early on. You're stopping the motherfucker before he even shows up.
Yeah.
You're stopping depression before he even shows up. You're stopping your mind from going there before it can even take you there. Which is always, I've learned, when your mind is taking you there, to take it somewhere else. Trust me. It took me 30 years. I'm no psychotherapist. I just know if I go to bed and I wake up at 3 a.m. with something on my mind, I did that for years. Brody. And I would go insane and pace. And then one night I took a notebook out. And I wrote down what I was mad about. Go smoke, go make a cheese sandwich, come back and read it. You'll fall right to sleep.
But a lot of this depression, for me, or I'm susceptible to some of that, if I am, so I think it's a lot of it's career, fine. It's like that sort of thing. These are not irrational thoughts. So some of these thoughts about like money or career, I can rectify them by taking action. So for me to go, hey, I need a pill, or I need to talk to somebody. No, you need to go book a podcast. You need to go show your face. You need to go for a walk. You need to sign up for a class. So I'm implementing, those activities to stave it off. And I get down on myself. I've always been somebody we all do. I've always been that. But I'll say this, like, I'm lucky. I'm grateful that I have that I've made. I've I've been able to do comedy, and I can perform at the Comedy Store, and I can go places because it's an outlet. It's not therapy, it's therapeutic, and I know it helps other people as well. And I think today, with it being so negative out there, and if I can share some of my philosophies without jamming it down their throat, but baseball's fun. I've been around successful baseball, successful TV shows, successful comedians, podcasts. I'm sharing that. And then the Comedy Store being the hottest club. And if you have your name on the marquee and you have a spot at the Comedy Store, that means something. And I know that, and I try to share with people how my thinking, like I'll even joke, like you didn't laugh at that joke? Well, I get free Red Bull. You didn't laugh at that joke? I park wherever I want. So why don't you do what I do? It's kind of a joke, but it is a joke. But I think that, I'm lucky. I'm lucky, but I'm just,
you know how lucky we are.
Very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Just the fact that we were together in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And you ready, people? Grab a pen and a piece of paper. 1997.
Even before.
I got there in 96.
I got there in 94.
But just it's 2018. So we've known each other. We've been in this struggle for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been apart for 4 of those years. You were in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We're very lucky. We're very lucky. There's a lot of people that we were up there in those one night in. That 16 list, I'll never forget.
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Listen, man, when I'm in that fucking old folks home and my memory's gone and I'm dying, I'm going to think of those Monday nights.
They were great.
They were very, very special to me. They were your whole week. That's what people don't understand. That's what sucks about doing comedy in LA. That you don't have a home club and you don't get pushed apart by your peers. Because in Houston on Monday nights, you had to show up every Monday with a new 5 minutes track. Your peers forced you. Because if not, you look that fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had that. We had that every Monday. You had to show up with another new 3 minutes. Yeah, you could show up with some of the shit you did last week, but you better show up with something to fucking kill them. That was your goal on Monday. 2 minutes. So you only had 6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
6, 8, and then the close at the 15th? Oh, no.
The open mic, you'd get
6 apiece.
I think it was 5 maybe 6.
Light at 5, 6, because they were training you for the Seattle Comedy Competition.
Okay.
Remember, the Seattle Comedy Competition was 5, 6 the first week, light at 5. You got to be off by 6, so you got a point taken away. So they trained you for that, to do the open mic system. So, I mean, just for that alone, if I don't wake up tomorrow, we still had the opportunity of growing together, going through.
Oh.
I mean, I got locked up in jail for 30 days in Seattle. You got put in the loony bin down here for 17 days. It's no different.
What happens?
We all had our fucking shortcomings. But what's important is that we're still in LA. We're still doing spots. We're still relevant. And it goes back to those Monday nights.
Yeah.
If you go home tonight and smoke a joint, you really think about what we learned on those Monday nights. Just torturing Rita O.
Oh.
Taking her pills and eating her pizza and her nachos. We would eat her nachos. And Rita O was the local tranny.
Good nachos there.
Good nachos. She was
we had Bill the bartender laughing.
I still remember his girlfriend and Clay's girlfriend nodding from heroin, sitting there on a Monday night open mic. 2 chicks like this, waitresses. I think, remember the hot Asian? There was a hot Asian waitress on Monday nights.
Yeah, I remember.
And there was Bill's girlfriend. And then we go upstairs, and that bartender fucking hated me. But I had Anthony. But I had a tab in there. And I still remember going upstairs and seeing Seahawks.
All the baseball teams.
And all the baseball teams. It was, and you know what? There was no ATM card. There was no car. There was no HBO. There was no Netflix. I lived in an office a little bit smaller than this one, on the floor with with 3 or 4 towels as a pillow, a half a blanket, and my clothes next to me on the floor. And those are the happiest times of my fucking life, going down there on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And then we would leave there and go somewhere else where they had cages. They had another open mic on Monday.
Oh yeah,
nights.
right. I didn't really do that
It was an art bar. It was near town. We'd go there and they had chicks in cages. That was always great.
While you were on stage?
While you're on stage. That's always great. You know what I'm saying?
But
and then we got the Tacoma contest.
Yep,
Were you
we
there
go
for the
down
Tacoma contest?
Crossroads.
She contacted me recently.
Oh, really?
To say hello. She's still around. So, listen, man, you know, when you get a check now or when something good happens, I want you to remember that you earned all this. There's no reason to ever end up, for me, when I get something, this Netflix, but everything goes back to those Monday nights in Seattle. So I'm thankful I had that. And I had that scene in Denver before Seattle, but nothing beats my comedy upbringing. Yeah. Those 2 years, those 18 months I did in Seattle made my mind become a comic. And I'll never, ever forget that. And you were part of that.
Thank you. Yeah, just they were so into the arts with the coffee house, the weather, and the late night diners, and just the characters in the scene, and the cable access shows. And they watched it. Seattle really supported that stuff. You couldn't do that in a Los Angeles it was a big city, but it was a small city. And it was, you just knew you were doing something right. It was on and Seattle, you know, it needed, I guess grunge was just dying out, but there's just something. Look, think of all those guys who were there at that point. Mitch Hedberg, you, myself, Josh Wolf, Craig Gass, all those comedians. They're still working. Like, they do the cruise ships. They do all the corporate stuff. Seattle.
David Crow.
Oh,
my God. The Hawaiian kid.
Kermit Apio. Vince Valenzuela.
Vince Valenzuela's still around.
Yeah.
He lives in Santa Monica. I don't know if he's doing comedy anymore.
Saw him on Facebook. I think he got a new hip.
Did he?
Yeah, he was talking about it on Facebook. But there's just characters in Seattle that you wouldn't get, I would say, like, yeah, you said maybe a Denver you wouldn't get them, or Phoenix you wouldn't, or Dallas.
The one I think about a lot is the cook. At the underground downstairs with the long hair.
I remember.
He was, if guys, he was one of the most interesting guys I ever met. We don't have time to go into him now, but
what was his name?
I have to call Josh tomorrow.
I remember.
Hair. I remember his face. I remember his long hair. And the nights that I couldn't make the bus back to Belleville, wherever Josh lived.
Bellevue,
I would stay with him.
Okay.
And I can't tell you how every time I stayed with him, it was a different adventure. First of all, he had no heat. He lived in a warehouse 2 blocks from the thing. He had 2 broken windows. The air, I remember it snowing. And, you know, by the window, there was like 3 inches of snow.
It's hard to sleep.
And I'm in a corner with 10 blankets on, my jacket on. Do you know, I got so fucking high in his apartment one night that you had to go take a shower, because he lived in a warehouse.
Uh-huh.
You had to pull the thing up in the elevator to go upstairs, and there was 3 people on the floor, but 1 shower and 1 bathroom. And that one day I was walking towards the bathroom. I just remember this. And I fucking was hungover, and I was so fucked up the night before that before I went in the shower, I passed out and went through this sheetrock. And there was an imprint of me going through the fucking sheetrock. Till this day, it's probably still me. I just tipped over and broke the fucking wall. But it was an imprint. You could still see my head where I went through the sheetrock, and he woke me up, and they threw me in the shower. Jesus Christ.
Crazy times before social media, before all of this technology. It was a simpler time. It's
tough to be a human now, man. A lot of information. I've seen in the last 3 years, I've seen a lot more people go crazy than I've ever seen in my life. I can count them on 2 hands.
And you think it has something to do with social media? That's one of the conduits for it.
I think that it's rolled around. It's everything that's going on. Social media, the way the news is portrayed, the way people are acting, the political climate. I think that it's just people losing their minds. I see it every day, and it's sad.
It's sad.
But hey, I'm happy you're off the meds.
Thank you. And I may go back on, but we're good now.
For right now,
yeah.
You're balanced.
Balanced,
you
exactly.
have a support system with me.
Thank you.
Have a support system with Josh Wolf.
Yep.
You have the Comedy Store, and that's the most important thing, man. I'm happy you're still doing your thing. You're always welcome on the church.
Church of what's happening now.
And fuck it, keep doing what you're doing. If next time, God forbid, I'll go visit.
Oh, you'll visit. Okay, we'll get you booked.
I'll smuggle something in to keep you alive. You know what I'm saying? A line of Coke, something to keep you going. I love you, Brody Stevens. Thank you for coming on the church, brother.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Lee.
That was Brody Stevens. I hope you enjoyed it. He made us laugh. We talked about fucking. Then a couple of days later, Bob Lalinga sent me a bunch of fucking Al Fox books and shit. Poor Al Fox thought he was a fucking celebrity that night. That poor fucking Momo. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for a great, great, great 1999. 2019. I'm sorry. That's how fucked up this fucking cookie got me. Real quick, before we end the show, another company I truly believe in for 2020 for you, if you haven't gone with them yet, is On It. Whether you start with the Club Bells, an 18-pound kettlebell, a 35-pound kettlebell. I got a 35-pound kettlebell. I do swings with it, cleans with it, Turkish get-ups with it. You know, what do I do? 3 sets of each? But I'm 56. I'm just trying to keep it together. You're young. Start now. Go with the Alpha Brain for starters. It's a nootropic. It clears your thinking. It helps you focus. And the most important thing is they're running a raffle. You get a ticket, you win. You win the On It experience. If you don't like the fucking Alpha Brain, keep it. Tell them you don't like it, and they'll send you the money back. Tell me one company that does that. You think when you go to Popeyes and stand on line over there, if you don't like that disgusting chicken sandwich, they'll give you the money back? Fuck no. On It is the way to go. On It is the future. On It is your future for 2020. To get your life together, your thinking together, whether you travel and you're getting sickly, they got the Shroom Tech Sport, the Shroom Tech Immune. So go to onit.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! Get 10% off your order delivered right to your motherfucking crib. And last but not least is something I believe in. And for 2020, if you're not starting the year off with a clean asshole, it's going to be a bad year for you. Trust me. No more spicy asshole. Why? We got a portable bidet. You're like, but Joey, it's going to cost me thousands. No, it's not. Hello Tushy start at $79. They come in all different colors, sizes. You know, you can fit them right into your bathroom equation. You're like, why do I need a bidet? Why? Because you're using paper. Some fucking apocalypto's walking around right now with no tree because you're wiping your fucking asshole. Did you think of that? And it's easy to install. You install it yourself. It takes 10 minutes, and it uses the water that runs for you to shave and brush your teeth. You're not tapping into your toilet water. Ooh, and once this bidet is down, you don't know what it's like to take a nice 18, 20-inch shit, sit back and sprinkle that water in your asshole, and know it's going deep into the cave of your ass like those 12 little Thai kids that got lost in Thailand. You understand me? That's a joke, people. Don't worry about nothing. Anyway, no dirty assholes, no itchy assholes, no fucking skid marks, no UTIs, no fucking hemorrhoid bleeding, nothing. Why? Because you got a bidet. And that's the future, and that's the way to go. You go to any other country, bidets are popular. Here, you got to cut 10 trees and shave it, and then fucking scrap your ass. And God forbid you run out of toilet paper. Then you got to use the paper and the fucking thing that's like, you might as well take sandpaper to fucking brush your fucking ass. But hey, how'd we get the fucking sandpaper? Let's just stick to the topic at hand here. Bidets, Hello Tushy. Go to HelloTushy.com right now. Look at the great selection that they have to offer, and you get back to me with this, okay? Save a tree. Wash your asshole. HelloTushy.com/church. Get 10% off, and that's how this motherfucker ends. All right, I want to thank HelloTushy.com, and I also want to thank Onit.com for a great year. But most importantly, I want to thank you guys, and for your accomplishments, and for your failures, and for acknowledging them. And to keep coming back and listening and supporting us every week. You know we're here. You know we love you. From fucking Ook to Jay Bish to Lalingus to Lorne Rosenka to Jeremy Slay. I love all you motherfuckers, Kern Michael. And this is just off the top of my fucking head. You understand me? I love you guys. Have a great fucking week. I'll do a couple periscopes just to tease you. But besides that, we'll be back January 6th, ready to fucking rock, all right? Blue cheese with wings or go fuck your mother. Kick this fucking muley. Have a great week. Happy New Year to you and all your family, and may 2020 be the year you're waiting on. Kick it, Lee.